One of the most popular things on the of the post that somebody posted me falling down in at the premiere of which I did fall down. The chair broke underneath me when I was sitting on the stage with Brian Rose, and that's gotten. I didn't know it was going to be posted, but anyway, it's neither here nor there. A lot of people like seeing me fall down, apparently, because it's been very popular on the internet. I haven't read the comments, but I was sitting in the chair, leaning back, and all of a sudden I was sitting on the floor. The chair busted. Anyway, now today, everybody's given their personal stuff that wants to, and we've given the Harvard type cases. Is that correct? Okay. Today is for one, any role playing that you request me to do, I do. Two, any questions that your little pea brains have come up with that we haven't already answered at least 40, 50 times. 100 times if you count the regular seminar. Three, if one case is given out and then all of you analyze it at the same time in a room, which may not, because that may not be that productive. It may be productive. It's up to you. So you all have something to say about the case. But basically, it's role playing and asking questions. Now you've asked. This is an exaggeration. Almost every permutation possible of everything that there is. But I don't want you to leave here if there's any, not doubt, doubt's the right word, that you don't understand it. You don't get it. Because if you don't get it, I get it. So there's no doubt in my mind, I know the answers. But for some of you, it's still foggy, if you will. And so let's start with questions. All right, let's start with what role playing would you want to see me do? And somebody list it so we don't miss anything. Somebody write it down. Yeah.
The bank.
What do you mean? What is it, Rose? I mean, I'm not teasing you now, but what does that mean, the bank?
The bank is, when you're wanting to get a new bank. I've been banking with Bank of America, and I want to up my game to a better bank.
No, that's not the deal. See, so far, most people, in 1 week, when I used to do this, I've seen more banks than this whole room has seen since you left the seminar. How many banks are there in London? 400 and something now? 500? Okay. I know that very few of you, if any of you, have called them all. Now, nobody's jumping up and saying, "Oh, I called them all, Dan." Correct? So that would imply that it's like when I used to go, okay, how many people did you try to sell this month? Something about something. Okay? In the last 3 weeks, in the last 2 weeks, in the last week, 7 days ago, 6 days ago, 5 days ago, 4 days ago, today. And if I went through that permutation, and you see why you were not farther ahead in the program. Remember, it was 5 cold calls. Remember that chart we put up of the most successful people? 1,800 cold calls in a year, 1,500 cold calls in a year, 1,200 cold calls in a year. And then I said, well, none of you are going to make 1,800 cold calls, so let's go down to the 1,200 cold calls, the cunt one. And then if you divide 1,200 cold calls by 12 months, you get, Omar, what do you get? Quick.
20 a month.
No, you get, God help us. Okay, no, so you get 100 a month, you get 25 a week, and I know you're not even going to work 5 days, so we'll give you the benefit of the doubt that you're going to do 5 days. So 5, into 25, so you're going to do 5 a day, okay. And all three of those people raised all the money that they ever needed doing QLA. One of them's on there and 2 of them are up there. But that's getting through to somebody, having a conversation with somebody. So when she says a bank, you want to up your game, we're not interested in you upping your game. I hope your game never gets up. Yeah, I'll rephrase that. I hope that you never up your game. That's not what this is about. You're not there to, it's like one of the people here from Canada said on the Hall of Shame, I've never been turned down by the Royal Bank of Canada. I slapped her. Those were in the 90s where I hit people. I slapped her. You fat cunt. What are you proud of that for? You're not asking for enough fucking money. I get turned down. Albeit not very often, but I still get turned down. This isn't, you're not there because you want to play tennis with them. You're there, they're in a service business, whether it's a bank, an accounting firm, a law firm, they're in a service business. They're there to service you. You're not there like I was talking last night about raising children, you're not there to be their friend. You're there so they respect you and they know they should make time for you when you bring a deal because you've got a system that works, yada, yada, yada. Not because you're going to go to Wimbledon together or Lourdes to watch cricket. Lourdes is still cricket, right? Okay. I'm going to go to Lourdes. These guys don't get it. They don't know from Lourdes. But anyway, I didn't know either 35 years ago. Okay, so the question is, so the question getting back to Rose is, you don't want to up your game with a bank. You want 5 or 10 banks that will finance your trashy deals. And that's a really important point. That's why I'm up on my soapbox about this. You understand what I just said, Rose? Okay, yes, sir. Oh, I'm glad to see you got the giraffe stuff. Thank you. I feel better now. Okay.
Let's say you roll up 10 organisations in 20 months, and you're thinking it's time to get rid of this, and you want to probably sell it to top equity first.
Okay.
The initial meeting when you've got this asset and how you're going to position it to get them hot to buy it off you.
Okay, I'm going to reframe that question. So in other words, you have got 10 deals that you've rolled up into one, and it's now time to take that one entity to exit with it. So either an industry partner or a private equity firm. Which one of the two? Because it's private equity. And most of your deals, we don't care which one it is. But you didn't say exit to an IPO. Okay. So for whatever reason, they took the decision, as they say, to exit with a private equity firm. Now remember, private equity firms of the 3 are going to be the hardest because they're the toughest because they're looking for rates of return that are probably within a 7-year period that are probably higher than industry giant. And in the IPO, they're not looking for rates of return. They're looking for growth like an Amazon, yeah.
But you won't have a really strong return if you just roll up over 20 months because you have too much debt. You have a lot of debt.
Yeah, well, I understand that. So that it's going to be hard for...
Okay, I got you.
It's just the interview.
Don't make me feel bad that this is the last day and some of you just don't know anything. You're hurting my feelings now. Please, I'm teasing it a little. Okay, so it doesn't matter with the time frame. It's the private equity that's different when you go to them because they're going to ask different kinds of questions. They're going to ask harder questions, okay? And by definition, almost all the time, they're not going to need your team. And most of the time, they're not going to need you because they will have a section or a group within their private equity group management that specializes in that particular health sector or whatever it is. So you're going to private equity. So you make the phone calls. You're not just going to go to one private equity. You're going to go to private equity firms, multiple. So you go back and you find out in the last 6 months to 36 months what private equity firms have done my kind of deal, or a reasonable facsimile thereof. So let's say it's KKR, Blackstone, Sequoia, whoever. And you say you want to know the partner in charge of that group or that area. You're not there to sell. You're there to find out if they're still in the purchasing mode now, because they're going to look at their private equity also have risk reward. So did we just do well? Did we just get killed in the deal? Do we have too much money at risk in this sector? Same kind of questions. And so you do it on the phone if they're still in the mood for that, but then you go see them. And of anybody that you talk to, you should be the most prepared when you go to the private equity guys, for the very reason that I just alluded to, that they ask the hardest questions. So now you're in the door. No, well, I'm going to get to that. But so you're in the door, and you want to see the guy. Now, when you go into the private equity firm, they set up a little conference rooms just like the banks. So if you're in a little room like this, with they're not that interested. They may be just they may be just fishing for information. A big difference between going to an industry expert and a private equity is the private equity guys fish for information, whereas industry experts probably don't. Understand, fish for information. They want to know what's out there, what's available. They may be looking at other deals in your sector, so that they want you to tell them what you know. Everybody follow that? Okay. So let's say it's a big conference room and there's 3 or 4 partners in there, and you will have asked, I'd like the partner that exited most recently. Okay, and there's two ends of that continuum. Who's the partner that got into the deal, your sector, most recently, and who exited? I'm more interested in the guy that exited, because the exit parameters are what's your parameters, because you're exiting. And then you got as IT's Omar. I mean, you're selling the vision, but they're not going to be looking for the vision. They're going to be looking what you have. They're going to be looking for exactly. They're also going to look at what you bought these things at 10, and where they are now. The first one you bought, in the beginning, how have you grown it? Because that will lead them to believe how the rest of the assets are going to perform once they take over. It'll also give them an idea of whether they need you or not. Whether they need you or not.
If you exit, it wouldn't matter.
Pardon?
If you're going to exit and sell.
Yeah, no, but they still want to know. They may say, we want to buy them, but we want you to, you do it like this, so we want you to hang around for a while. And that they'll base that on what did you get in at, where are they now? They may even ask you what were the parameters from the first, what did you think when you bought it, so they can judge how good your judgment is. But most likely they'll just write you a check because they want you out. And they'll plug it into one of their own deals. It may be a bolt-on, it may be this, it may be that. But you want somebody that's already been successful in the industry. You don't want, somebody new. You got a question, yeah?
Yeah, I have a question about private sales. So let's say you do 100 deals, you buy 100 assets at $1 million each. And
100 assets at $1 million
okay,
each.
so you borrowed 100 million, okay?
Gotcha.
And you're selling for 200 million. You have me, I have 50% of the.
So you're selling because that's just an arbitrary price you picked?
That's the exit price.
Okay.
Okay.
Is it based on something, some growth of EBITDA, or is it just, a hair that you pulled out of your messy hair on your head?
I pulled it out.
Okay.
Fine.
Arbitrary, more or less.
Yeah, arbitrary,
Okay.
just for the example.
Okay.
And I have 50% of the stock.
Okay.
Yeah. So do I walk away with 100 million or 50 million? And what I'm really asking is how does the debt get handled? We'll say none of the debt has been repaid, just to make the example simple.
Make it
so
worse.
the net
Okay.
is 100 million. So I'm really asking how the debt
Okay, so you invested 100 million.
of the bank's money.
Okay, all debt.
Yeah,
Okay, and you want to exit at 200 million.
yeah,
You still have the 100 million debt,
yeah,
right?
yes.
And you want a, well, it doesn't matter who's buying it really, whether it's an industry guy or,
Which is private. I just meant non-IPO.
okay, so, and you're selling it for 200, and they agree at 200 price.
Yeah.
So how much money do you get? Well, first of all, depends on their own portfolio. Do they have be able to plug it into something? But let's just say that all things are equal, and we all know that they're not. They will pay off the debt. So now you've got 100 million. Okay, they paid off the debt, and the 100 million, you have 50%. You'll get 50 million.
Okay, so I walk away with 50, not 100.
Yeah, I mean, assuming nobody else in the deal. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
But explain to me why you even thought you might walk away with 100.
Well,
I mean, this is kind of Rose kind of question. I mean, you trying to trick fuck me or something?
No, because
It's a Jewish deal.
It's a Jewish deal.
Because if they were essentially buying the debt from me, because it would be 100 if 100 is 50% of 200 million, so it's 50% of the.
Yeah, I know that.
Okay,
Thank you, Graham. Did you get that? Okay.
So I was asking if they use the funds, if the debt repayment comes out of the funds that I am essentially receiving, and you're saying that it does.
Yeah, correct.
Thank you.
Or at least for evaluation purposes, it will. Whether they really pay off the debt and do all that is a completely other story. It'll depend if they have a banking relationship with that bank. They may use it if it's a big enough number to renegotiate their whole revolving line if they've got one with a bank. There's all kinds of other things that could happen. But it's never as simple as he made it. It just, life doesn't work that way. Okay, so I answered your question. Okay, so back to Rose. I will do a role play on banks. But if you've done business with the same bank for any length of time, and you probably got a shitty deal. I can say that categorically if I went through the bullet points or the boxes to tick or whatever. Okay, for those of you, just for example, when you're doing the deals with the banks, I mean, remember, the board has taken the decision that we're going to review all our professional relationships. Financial, accounting, legal, whatever else there are. Currently, with our banks, and now you're talking to a banker now, currently with our bank, we have a deposit relationship, meaning we deposit money, and they may or may not give us service, and now they don't even give us fucking interest. We want a full banking relationship. And they will, even if they don't ask, you will say, Bill, that includes preferred mortgage rates for the board, credit cards, car loans, and you go down the list, the laundry list of shite. That is a full banking relationship. And some of you have said and gotten tickets to the World Series, tickets to the World Cup, tickets to the Super Bowl. And some of the kids, I mean, when it's a little chicken shit deal, they're at the fucking Super Bowl. They actually get them. Tickets to Wimbledon. You ask for all this. If you don't ask, you don't get. Thank you, YouTube.